Hey guys, Primal Chaos here. Welcome to the channel. Today I was just mucking around at work or whatever, and I had a playlist going, and a song came on that I hadn't heard in a while, which was Jinjer's Wallflower, and I was like, "Who is that? Why do I know this?" And then it occurred to me what it was. I'm like, "Oh my god, it's been a while, right?" So I'm gonna have to come back and revisit some Jinjer because I promised I would continue down the rabbit hole. But unfortunately, rabbit holes have been opening up all over the plains lately. So I've got like all of this stuff to catch up on. And look, there's one here that when I was scrolling through thinking, what should I do? There's one here that just continually just kept coming up over and over again in the comments, which I never got around to. And that's Sit, Stay, Roll Over, which is, I guess, one of the older ones. But yeah, I'm super keen to hear what it sounds like. And let's jump right in. Oh, the mix. So first off, wow, this is way more intense. I'd love to know when this was. When was this? 2016. Okay, so this is quite old. And it feels like, I think a lot of metal bands go through this phase early on where they try to be the fastest and heaviest and most brutal band in the scene. And this sounds like that has that energy, right? I'm really digging the riffs. The mix is really bright. It's kind of cutting my head off a little bit, but that's cool because it adds to the intensity. But anyway, let's jump back a little bit, get over the initial shockwave, and try to reassess. I'm digging Tatiana's hair. It's got kind of like, when she moves, it's got an interesting energy. You know what I mean? But let's go back. Yeah, this will do. That was really cool. One good thing about having two voices is you can do that sort of thing where you overdub with yourself and have like a different texture going on. That's cool. You can hear where her clean vocals came in. Typically how she would typically harmonize with herself, and she's kind of harmonizing with that low growl. And in saying that, it seems like her low growl is a little bit more intense at this point, right? It's a little bit less musical. It's a little bit more just straight up, you know, like it's just all guttural. And it's interesting because it seems like that's kind of evolved with the nuance of the rest of the band as well. So as they've gone onwards, I mean, this could be just a different example of something that stood out in the era, but I'm suspecting a lot of the stuff from this era is pretty similar. But obviously we know from more current Jinjer, their playing has become a lot more evolved and a lot more nuanced as far as, you know, harmonically and melodically and stuff like that. And I feel like Tatiana's voice has gone and followed suit, where she's got a lot more light and shade. She's using the power of her growls as more of an effect for impact, rather than the core of the song with the sung hook, you know? I mean, there's probably some examples of that not being the case. But to me, from just blasting back through the many reactions I've done, it seems like that's the case. Like they've sort of turned it up a notch as far as creativity goes, and sort of moved away from the status quo of just, you know, fast, genty blast beat kind of metal, you know. But that's not to say I don't like this. This is really intense. I dig it. It's a good workout song. If I ever worked out.
I cannot as soon as the food is done. The dog will rave until the glass crash bones. The glass crash bones.
Glass crash bones. Glass crash bones. Glass crash bones. Glass crash bones. The one who disappears. You learn the cruel lesson about them stones. Your deceit is subjective. It is a basic skill to
Wow! Oh. Hang on, I can just hear that again. That last bit at the end of that growl just turned brutal. Oh, did you hear that? Stay! It just devolves down into this low growl. That's really cool. Hang on, just rhythmically, that was super cool. That transition there. I mean, I can't even try to count what they're doing. I don't know. I mean, it could all be 4/4 for all I know, but there's so many polyrhythms and stuff, and just accented beats and stuff like that. I'm not even focusing on that. I'm just trying to ride with the beat. But that little intricate kind of tempo shift thing that happened between those two parts was just stellar.
It's not mine.
And straight into a groove, like it was like these guys, like, groove really is at the core of what they do, and so that they can just like dive straight back into that so comfortably just makes them so much more interesting as a band than a band that just sits straight in the, you know, straight 4/4, you know, fast picking sort of action. Or even to a degree, bands that sort of will do unusual syncopated sort of rhythms, but not with any kind of a sort of like a swing to them, you know? You know, I mean, everybody does well in their own space, but these guys, this is what they do. And you can see it sort of coming to fruition in this track. It's, let me hear that again.
It's not mine.
All right, let's check out an ad break. After that, I'll do a full breakdown of the song. Hey guys, this video is made possible by Enchroma. 1 in 6 guys and 1 in 200 women are colorblind, and if that happens to be you, there's something you can do about it. Click the link in the description, it'll take you to Enchroma's website where you can get a free eye test. And while you're there, maybe pick up some corrective lenses. They've got styles to suit everybody and a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you got really nothing to lose. And while you're there, use the code CHAOS in checkout to get 10% off. Tell them Primal Chaos sent you. Hey guys, I was just editing and I just thought I'd jump in and let you guys know the reason I'm so sweaty is because there's literally like a tropical thunderstorm going on outside. It's about 30 degrees in my studio, which is like 86 degrees Fahrenheit. And I can't have fans on in here, and I've got my studio lights on, so if I'm a little sweaty, I apologize. But I just thought I had to let you know. It's not because I'm some weirdo. Back to the review. All right, we're back. Wow. Energy. Oh, I just realized my... Hang on. Let me correct this because this is going to kill me. There we go. I was doing some guitar recording the other day and I moved that up there. Anyway, forgive me for that. Now, wow, the energy. This is just like a 50 megaton charge going off in your ears, man. This is an interesting era of Jinjer for me because I don't know that I've heard anything quite like this with this sort of driving sort of rhythm. But boy, am I here for it. That was just super cool. And like it would have been the work of a lesser band had they not had that groove element to sort of fall back into from time to time. And I mean, what a powerhouse of just musicians, you know, all of them. Everyone is just firing on all cylinders. And to be honest, I didn't expect this kind of quality from all the way back in 2016. I'm sure that there's earlier stuff than this that's just as good, but very few bands, you know, when you look at their evolution over a really long stretch have, you know, consistently improved, but without ever being bad, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like it's not that they've gotten to be better players, but their music can become more nuanced and stuff like that. A lot of times bands sort of evolve and become softer and lose a lot of fans and, you know, try to go a more sort of contemporary route or whatever. These guys have sort of stayed in their lane, but their lane has just widened, you know, to involve way more sort of so much more character, you know? But man, oh, dude, I'm going to have to listen to this song 50 more times to really get the nuance of what everyone's playing because it's pretty intense, right? But one thing you can say for certain is they're just, the rhythm section is just locked in. They're tight as. The guitar had some really wild, crazy riffs and stuff like that, some lead work, which was really cool. But just, I mean, you can only describe it as intense. It's like, this is like a, you know, it's like a pyrotechnic show without the fireworks, you know? It's just, I mean, the fireworks are right there. You're looking at them. But man, that was really cool. I wish I could sort of break down a lot more stuff musically, but to be honest, I'm not sure exactly what anyone's doing. This is totally outside my pay grade. You know, like a lot of times, you know, with more traditional guitar playing and stuff like that, I can usually whip out a guitar and show you some licks or some concepts of what they're doing guitar wise. But this is just straight up, just rhythmic melody playing, you know, that you see in a lot of sort of gent or hardcore bands or things like that. But as usual, these guys managed to put their own spin on it. And I don't mean that just because of Tatiana being female and having a different way of doing things. In fact, out of all of the songs I've heard from Jinjer, this is probably the more like the least feminine that I've seen her in regards to, like, you know, the way that she sort of puts herself into the music. You know what I mean? This is pretty straight down the line, hardcore, metalcore kind of just, or whatever you'd call it. I'm not even sure genre wise, but just, you know, you could take her out of the picture and put in a guy and you're not going to notice too much of a character shift. But I mean, that's not to say that same person would make the same choices she makes, and she brings her magic, absolutely. But I'm sort of talking more on a tonal level, like as far as, you know, like I feel like in the more modern stuff, she's really found her place and her magic is kind of hitting on all cylinders all the time, and she knows who she is fundamentally. And you know, she's a seasoned performer in 2016 as well. But I just feel like some of the newer songs, they've allowed themselves to become more Jinjer, if that makes sense, you know. But phew, what a firecracker of a song. Yeah, wow. Okay, I can understand now why there were so many requests for this in all the comments of the other Jinjer videos. And partially that's why I'm here. You guys, I go where the crowd leads me. Some people, sometimes they give me suggestions and they'll say in them, "Hey, this will get you a lot of views," and things like that. I'm not about that. You'll see videos on my channel that have 47,000 views, and you'll see one right next to it that has 400 views, and it doesn't bother me. I'm more interested in the journey. Like the channel's growing insanely organically as it is. I don't need to bolster those numbers with making choices. If you see me do something outside the box, like a Dimash video or whatever, it's because I'm genuinely curious about where that journey's going. But with things like this, I genuinely go with what seems like the most interesting or most abundant sort of community sort of prompting, if that makes sense. And this one came up a lot, and I can see now why it did. In fact, I remember reading through, because I read all the comments, I remember seeing people saying, you need to do more old school Jinjer, so you can see where they came from and how they used to roll and things like that. And I know that there's older school than this, but this is probably a good stepping stone. And you're right. I'm glad I've seen this now, because I can see that they've always been amazing. It's as simple as that. Anyway, that's about all I've got to say on it. But, as usual, if you feel like I've brightened your day, I'd appreciate it if you buy me a coffee. I'm just going to leave it link in the description. Like, share, subscribe, follow, all that sort of nonsense. I have to say that it's contractually obligated as a YouTuber. And also, again, throw some comments, suggestions. I've done a lot of Jinjer, but I'm here to do more, or anything Jinjer adjacent as well. Hit me up and I'll take a look at it. But yeah, thanks again, guys. Appreciate all of your support, and I'll catch you on the next one.